Welcome to this month's presentation. Don't miss out on any of our club updates or exciting content. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook. By joining our online communities, you'll stay informed about upcoming events, technical tips, and club news. Check out our website for more details. Subscribe and follow today so you never miss a moment of our growing amateur radio adventures. Now, back to our program.
Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Gary, KJ5HYX, and I will be joint hosting this presentation with Brenda, KJ5ADO. And just want everyone to know a little bit about me. I am a fairly new ham operator. I'm just turned 80 years old this year. I was licensed about a year and a half ago with my tech license, and then last year I picked up my upgrade to general. So, and I guess most of all, I'm proud to be a Crossroads Ham Radio Club member. So, just a little bit about me. And so, anyways, it's my honor to be able to share with you a little bit this evening. I don't know if you can, those of you that are on Zoom can see the map. Brenda, can we move that up to the map there? At last check, we had something over in excess of 20 repeaters within our network. And as you can see from the map, that covers most of southeast Texas. That's a lot of coverage. And as our network has grown, and it seems to be continuously growing, it's kind of important that we kind of all, you might say, read from the same hymnal. We all need to kind of have some standardization so that we don't have any confusion about the way we do things. Also, I wanted to share with you, because of all these far-reaching repeaters, when someone keys up, one of the things that I noticed as a new ham, it was hard for me to figure out where folks were calling in from, or where the signal was coming from. There's a very helpful page on. You can find it on it. You can reach it through our web page, and that is it's called a link system dashboard. And if you go to that page, it has a list of all of those repeaters, and when somebody's talking on them, it kind of turns bold, where you can see it real well, and that way you can identify which repeater someone is speaking on. I found that to be pretty interesting. Okay, now we want to move on to talking about a few do's and don'ts. It's not that Brenda and I are playing the good cop, bad cop role, but I have the privilege of talking about the do's, and she's going to handle the don'ts. And the good news is there's probably a lot more do's than there are don'ts. Okay, so the first do we want to talk about is listen. Before I ever started using the repeaters, I found it real helpful to just wait a little while before I did any talking and listen. It helps you kind of learn the process. So before you just jump on and start talking, spend a little time getting used to how everything is done. Let me let this drop. And then after you listen and you get the courage up to do some talking, after you push the push to talk button, once again, hesitate a little bit before you start. a lot of us have a habit of when we grab the microphone and we really want to start saying something, we start speaking simultaneous with pushing the button, and that just simply doesn't work, because all of the transceivers in all of the various repeaters take just a brief second to activate. They all have switches in them that have to switch and turn things on before the signal actually starts going out. And as a result of that, if you start talking at the same time you press the button, it's likely that you're going to cut off maybe the first letter or two of your call sign. So it's very important that you make a little pause there. Maybe about 1 second would be enough, and then you can begin speaking. All right. And then moving on, there's some additional things additional dues I'd like to talk about. We want you to enjoy our wonderful network, but be sensitive to other folks that are out there also wanting to use it. So long conversations are often better moved to maybe a simplex channel where you can have a little more privacy and you can stay on there as long as you want. We want the network to be active. One of the last things we want is for there to be quiet airspace there. So we encourage everyone to get on there and use it, but just recognize that there's other folks that also probably want to use it. All right. Now, for those of you that are using All-Star, there's some suggestions that would be very helpful. Let me read those to you. Please be sure to disconnect all other connections before connecting to Crossroads node 28528. You're always welcome to connect to the club node, but node to node is a good choice for longer conversations. You can also use node 614491 for longer QSOs, because that's another of Crossroads nodes that is designated as a test node. And then one other node that could be useful is the parrot node. That's number 55553. It's a great one for testing your audio. When you use the parrot node, your voice actually will come back to you, so you can test the quality of your voice. Correct that. It's not the quality of your voice, the quality of your audio. Next, be encouraging and welcoming to new hams and visitors that are joining our network. You know, it's always one of the things that we hear over and over, how friendly our Crossroads Club is. And quite frankly, that's probably why a lot of us are here now. There's lots of good clubs in the area, but the friendliest, most inviting, most comfortable, and the most enjoyable one to be a part of, I think, is Crossroads. I'm sure you'll agree with me on that, and that's the reason I'm here for sure. Okay. Now, moving on, another important thing to do is to show some grace for incorrect usage. Many of us remember our old CV days, and back over in the CV world, that's the place where the rules are that there are no rules. And many of us, a lot of folks have moved away from that for that very reason. And so a lot of folks that are coming from either as total novices or coming from the CB world, they're prone to use terms that are just not really appropriate for ham radio referring to each other as good buddies and other terms like that. And when you hear that, don't be angry with them. Just give them a little grace and maybe tactfully explain that we don't use those terms in ham radio. We've all made mistakes, and I know I make plenty, and everyone has been very kind to me to gently set me straight. So I appreciate that, and I know that you will too. We have a couple of good weekly nets, or good nets on our network, and one of those occurs every Thursday night. It's the regular Crossroads Thursday night net. Jump on there and participate with us. It's fun. It's a time where you don't need to think of a lot to say. There's usually a simple question of the day that's put out there for you to think about, and when it's your turn to talk, it gives you an opportunity to kind of a low pressure way of getting on the air and getting your voice heard and getting used to using the network. So we encourage you to do that. Also, we have once a month we have our tech nets, as tonight, and that's so participate in those nets. Okay, finally, we'd like to encourage everyone to visit the Crossroads website. It's www.CRHRC.org, and you'll find a lot of good information on there. So those are some of the good things to do, some of the do's, and it's at this time I'd like to pass the microphone over to Brenda, and Brenda, KJ5ADO, and so with that I will hand it off to Brenda.
I wanted to take a short break to remind you of the great items available at the CRHRC merchandise store. Show your club pride by purchasing club-branded merchandise. Go to www.crhrc.org/merch. There is also a link in the description below.
Sorry about the delay. I was waiting for the node to ID. So thank you, Gary. That was great. And like Gary said, I'm Brenda, KJ5ADO, and we are here on the W5LCR repeater system. And I'm going to talk about a few of the things that we should avoid while we're on the network. And the first one is kerchunking. We've probably all heard that. It's a big no-no to kerchunk, and what that is if you don't know, is when an operator presses the PTT button just long enough to open up the repeater. And technically that is illegal according to the FCC regulations because it's transmitting without proper identification. But mostly it's just super annoying on our really large network. So it's not a good test of signal strength at all. The only thing that it shows is that your radio is on the right frequency and it has the correct PL tone to open up the repeater. But other than that, that's all it shows. So if you're testing a new radio or antenna and you want to see if you're within range of the repeater, it's better to give your call sign and ask for a signal report or, how am I sounding, something like that. Or if you don't, you can also give your call sign too and say, testing, I don't need any kind of response. And so that works too. So let's not kerchunk, please. Next up is let's refrain from discussing touchy subjects. Like Gary said, back in the CB world, there's all sorts of things going on. But, we'd like to keep our repeater system friendly and inviting for everyone. So it's really not a good idea to discuss touchy subjects like religion and politics or family matters or, detailed health issues. it's just better to just keep the conversation light and friendly and, talk about radios or, anything else. But try to stay away from those topics. You never know who might be listening. There might be children in the area. Okay, a few other things is please don't call break unless there's an emergency. If you'd like to join a conversation or get onto the repeater, it's best to just throw out your call sign. And another thing is let's continue to keep the language and the topics on the repeaters G-rated. Again, you never know who might be listening, and there might be some young little ears. Also, if you're like me and you've probably got the music going, while you're driving in the vehicle, and then you decide you want to talk on the radio, you need to turn the music down or just turn it completely off, because a lot of people aren't aware, but that is another FCC violation because it's illegal broadcast. Make sure that's all turned off before you start talking. And another thing to kind of help with emergency communications is to try to keep your phonetics in the standard NATO phonetic practice. For instance, my call sign would be Kilo Juliet 5 Alpha Delta Oscar. Now, I could use Kentucky Japan 5 Amsterdam Denmark Ocean. That would be phonetically correct, but that would be very difficult for a net control operator to try to figure out. For emergency reasons, we want to practice for that emergency that we hope we never have. We want to be able to be understood that first time that we call out. Plus, that really makes it difficult for the net loggers. But I do have to say that our Crossroads family has gotten much better about saying our call sign slowly and phonetically during the net check-in. So keep up the good work with that. Points for this evening: keep your transmissions to 2 minutes or less. Kind of like Gary and I have been doing. Take a break every now and then. And so what that means is don't leave your transmit button pressed down for longer than 2 minutes. And this gives the repeaters a break and kind of lets them get a breath sort of before they start timing out, which means they start shutting off. And so it'll work better if you give them a chance to rest in between your transmissions. And another thing is radios, they're capable of cross band repeat. And let's not do that on the network just because it does cause some technical problems. And one other thing is if you get a bad signal report or you're talking and someone says, man, you're really noisy or you're really not making the repeater, please don't keep talking. Try to do some problem solving. Turn up your power, maybe check your antenna and its connections. Maybe if you're inside the house on an HT, go outside.
Node 6402550. Timeout.
Okay, so to recap for the do's, listen before you're speaking, pause. In other words, wait before you push, wait after you push down the button before you talk. Give yourself a second or so to kind of let all those repeaters connect. Allow to use the network. Connect your all-star node, please do, but please disconnect from all the other nodes. Be encouraging and welcoming. Give grace for mistakes. We'd love for you to join the nets and visit the website. And then as far as the don'ts, fortunately there aren't as many of those, but let's not kerchunk. Don't transmit for longer than 2 minutes at a time. Refrain from touchy topics. Please don't use foul language. And don't call break unless there's an emergency. And for the crossband repeating, let's not do that either. So to wrap all this up, have fun on the air and enjoy using this great network of repeaters. I hope this has been helpful, and I look forward to hearing you on the air soon. This is KJ5ADO on the W5LCR repeater system, and back to Net Control W5BSA.
And thank you, Gary and Brenda. Super job there. This is W5BSA Joe on the W5LCR repeater system with the Crossroads Net radio. And this is our monthly TechNet session. We would like to give a big super thanks to Gary and Brenda for an awesome job they did on tonight's radio etiquette, radio or repeater 401. I love that topic. And some of you may know this was actually a repeat of TechNet number 10, which I think was well over a year ago. So it's always a great one to revisit every now and then. All right, so right now we're at the questions part of the presentation. At this time, we're going to open the net for any tech questions or comments specific to tonight's presentation. We will take a few call signs at a time and then call on each of you for your questions or comments. Anyone with comments or questions regarding the presentation, just like when you're logging into Thursday night's net, please try going, this is, just like Ms. Brenda just said, this is, pause and listen so we don't double, and then give us your call sign phonetically twice, and we'll be glad to try to get the presenters to answer your questions. So please give your call sign followed, and please come now.
This is W5GHR, Whiskey 5, Golf Hotel Romeo.
Good evening, W5GHR. Welcome. What are your questions for our presenters tonight?
Once and someone else was talking, but I did have a little bit of a question. One of the do's, or it said, keep the conversation short, and if you have a longer conversation, try to move to a simplex frequency. But with as big as the network is, what are your suggestions for that?
Okay, if you're not available to move to a simplex, just be sensitive to know that other people may be wanting to talk. So just maybe say, I'm gonna step to the side for a minute and see if anybody else wants to talk. I've heard people say that, or I've also heard people say, hey, we're just rag chewing here. If anybody else wants to jump in, please join us. Does that answer your question?
Does, and I've done that very thing before when I've had longer conversations. Jumped out there and said, "Okay, we're just talking here. Anybody else out there, feel free to jump in." I just wanted to put that out there because that was a question that was kind of in the back of my mind. So thanks for your answer. This is back to you, Net Control. This is W5GHR.
Right, great exchange there, GHR and Brenda. Thank you very much. This is Joe, W5BSA, with tonight's TechNet. All right, are there any other questions for tonight's presenters or comments? Please come now with your call sign.
This is? Let me pause. Kilo 5 Lima, Kilo K5LK over in Berkshire Town.
K5LK, go ahead, Bill. Good evening to you.
Hey, Joe. Good evening to you and everybody on the net, and many thanks, Brenda and Gary, for the presentation. I think maybe I supported them a little bit in updating this, kind of in the background, kind of a gopher guy, I guess. But a couple of things. I think the theme was, this was the update from TechNet number 10, as Joe said, from September of 2024. It seems like an age ago. And with the network growing like it has in the club, a couple of things we really wanted to emphasize, and one was pause, pause, pause. And we've really kind of seen that on a lot of our nets. Just another second or two, this is, and the pausing can really help with the net controls to get that call sign right. So that was one of the biggest things. I think it helps a lot. We got, some nights, 45, 50 connections, across the United States or the world. The internet's fast, but it's not quite that fast. So that's one of the things. Let it reset here. And another thing that's a little frustrating, is, it's just part of life and ham radio, but a lot of the kerchunking as well. It can be kind of frustrating for people that monitor the network, hour after hour. So just a couple of do things. I think Brenda mentioned some of these, just throw out your call. This is K5LK testing. No response needed, something like that. Or This is K5LK in Brookshire. How's my audio? Anybody around? Things like that really helps a lot, because just keying your radio and, bringing on 30, 40, 50 repeaters or whatever the case may be really doesn't tell you anything if your audio is good quality. So it's doing well, just kind of some things we sometimes want to emphasize again. Brenda or Gary, if y'all got any, Joe, if they have any more to add to that, please do. But a great presentation. Thanks, Brenda and Gary. K5LK, we're clear.
Okay, thank you very much, Bill, for your questions and queries there. Okay, again, this is going to be the last call for questions or comments on tonight's presentation, then we'll take some general amateur radio questions if anybody has any. So does anybody else have questions for Gary or Brenda about tonight's presentation on repeater etiquette? Please come now with your call sign. We'll take a couple of them, and if not, we'll move on.
This is Kilo Juliet 5, Kilo Echo Lima, Jay in Northwest Houston.
Kilowatt Bravo 5, Papa Bravo Mike.
Hey, good evening, K5KEL. Go ahead with your question and tell us your name. I don't recognize your call sign, sorry. We probably talked 100 times, but I can't remember your name right now. So what's your name and what's your questions for Brenda or Gary?
Oh, it's only been 101 times. Just kidding. Kilo Juliet 5, Kilo Echo Lima. And I just wanted to, I missed a little bit of the beginning of Gary's presentation, part of his presentation. And I wanted to know if anybody was going to reiterate or talk a little bit about the digital fusion side of Crossroads. And I know the future for C4FM on the network is a positive and good one.
KJ5HYX, this is Gary. One of the things that I know is with all the digital methods, there's somewhat more of a delay with those than there are with analog, and so just to be aware of that.
I'll throw my 2 cents in on that subject, especially when you're on a fusion linked repeater network like the SADRC, the San Antonio Digital Radio Club, where it's similar to the Crossroads when you're on that network, where, just like Gary just said, you've got to key down and almost count to 3 or 4 before you start talking. And the same thing when you quit talking, you got to keep the push-to-talk mic maybe down for another count of 2 or 3 to make because by the time all the repeaters lock in on the fusion network, there's just a lot more latency than there is on All-Star. That's one of the things I love about All-Star. It's pretty fast. Hope that makes sense. That's been my experience anyway. Did that answer your questions? Do you have any follow-up there for the presenters?
Sure, y'all are doing a great job. Appreciate it.
Very welcome. Thanks for checking in with us tonight. Hey, Rob, great to hear you as always. KB5PBM, go ahead with your question, sir.
If my microphone wasn't muted. No, I was going to talk about the digital side. So we have 3 modes that are connected to the system. We have a fusion reflector, we have a P25 reflector, and we have a DMR, not reflector, but HB link. And we do have users on that system. So whenever you hear someone that's on digital, it's probably best to switch to a round table type QSO, where basically you pass the token to each person and let them have their say. Because the digital side will have between a half second to a second and a half delay. So the All-Star guys if you're on All-Star, you're always going to win the battle with the over the digital people. So if you hear somebody on the digital side come in, just kind of pass the token to each person. Hey, this is KB5PBM. I'll pass it off to Joe, W5BSA. Go ahead, Joe, and then just, pass the token around. That way everybody has a chance to say something. If you started seeing the long delays on the digital side. That's all I had in there. Back to you, Joe, KB5PBM.
Thanks very much, Rob. Yeah, that's a great idea. I love the idea about the round robin. That really helps quite a bit. Exactly. All right, one more call for anybody with questions or comments for tonight's presenters, and then we're going to move on to just a quick call for general amateur radio questions. But let's stick to the presentations right now. Does anybody else have anything they want to ask or make a comment about?
Alpha Charlie 5, Alpha Lonnie.
Good evening to you. AC5A, go ahead, sir.
Yes, sir. Good evening. Just a comment. Just want to thank y'all for the way y'all keep this net organized, keep the club organized. And it's not 20 plus years. It's probably the best club and best net I've been a part of. So I appreciate it. Keep up the good work. And we'll catch you on Thursday night. Alpha Charlie 5, Alpha Lonnie in Kirbyville.
Hey, thanks very much for those comments, Lonnie's always greatly appreciated. Really do. Thank you so much. AC5A there in Kirbyville. And this is Joe, W5BSA, and we're going to go ahead and call that good for our presentation tonight on repeater etiquette, and we'll move on and close the RF net. But before we do, does anybody have any general questions about any topic related to amateur radio? Please come now with your call sign, and we'll do our best. Go ahead with your tech team announcement there, Bill, and then we'll give them one more try for any general questions, including tonight's presentation. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, well, I just wanted to recognize our tech team. Two of them were on there, or one of them was, Brenda, KJ5ADO. Gary was sitting in, did a great job tonight. Our tech team meets once a month, typically, and we focus on technical topics for ham radio. And we will be meeting Wednesday night, this coming Wednesday night at 8 p.m. We will be on Zoom at zoom.crhrc.org, zoom.crhrc.org. We will be planning our tech nets and other activities for the next several months. And so if anybody in the club is interested, or if you're not a club member, get you to join. We'd love to have you sit in and help drive some of the technical topics. A lot of things going on. A lot of things are going on technically in ham radio for sure, and we'd love to get some ideas. So that's it, Joe. Just Wednesday night at 8 p.m. on Crossroads Zoom. We'd love to have everybody show up that's interested. K5LK, back to net. Thanks for being net control, Joe.
Thank you, Bill. Bill, if some of you don't know, Bill is the original creator of the TechNet, and I think you're up to approaching number 30. And tonight's was a repeat. He said of number 10, and then he said that was way back in 2024. That's really hard to believe. Lots of water under the bridge, but it's all good tasting waters that we've had with the TechNet and just Crossroads in general. You just hear person after person, including me, talk about what a great group of people this is. And anyway, let's keep it going. I'm sure we will. So anyway, last call for any general amateur radio questions or tonight's presenters, repeater etiquette. Last call for any comments or questions, and then we're going to close the RF net. It's still going to be on Zoom for a while, but last call for any questions or comments for tonight's TechNet. Please come now. Hearing none, we are now going to wrap up tonight's TechNet RF session. Remember that we will stay on Zoom for a rack chew session after the net.
You have been listening to a TechNet presentation of the Crossroads Ham Radio Club. For more information on this club, go to www.crhrc.org. For information on upcoming TechNets, go to technet.crhrc.org.